Hey everyone, session 5 is talking about social structure and social interaction. I'm going to review with you what that means in just a moment, but before I do, I want to draw your attention to the fact that session 6, which follows session 5 and is due on the same deadline day, is a writing analysis for the chapters that we have covered in Unit 1. So I'm drawing your attention to that. So when you're watching the directions video for session 5, you understand you need to go ahead and knock this out, get this out of the way. That way you have ample time to devote to completing your writing analysis, which is due in session 6. Okay, jumping into session 5's topic of social structure and social interaction, I'm going to hopefully pull into the screen here some information for you. And I tried to make this small so it would fit in the screen, but hopefully you'll be able to see here. Okay, so when we talk about social structure in society, we are talking about essentially the framework that surrounds us, the structures inside of society that makes society a thing. That is a very complex thought process when you're just simply thinking about it. But if we kind of take a deep dive into social structure, we just figured out that it's essentially the unspoken things in society that we all have grown to understand because we have been socialized to understand them, such as what it means to be a teacher or a student. When you walk into a classroom and you see a full classroom, you automatically know that the person standing at the front of the room by the board is the teacher. And all the other people sitting at the tables or at the desk, they're students. Okay, that is an example of a social structure, the educational system. You just know that. You also know that when you are in a classroom and you have a question, you should raise your hand. Then you should be called on. Then you can ask your question. However, I bet you that you don't do that at the dinner table with your family. If you're sitting around a table eating a meal, I can guarantee you're not going to raise your hand and ask to be called on to contribute to the conversation. That is an additional example of a social structure. A couple of things that you may see in your book are different components of social structure, and those are listed on your screen there. And just for introduction purposes, I'm going to talk about status and roles, which are two aspects of social structure. I like to do this by thinking about the game charades. So if I was to play the game of charades with you, I would give you a piece of paper that has something on it, let's say mother or parent or child care provider, okay? So that would be something that is on your card, and then you have to act out what that person would be doing in order for your friends to guess what was written on your card. So the social status, if we're going to compare that to charades, would be what is written on your card. So mother, parent, child care provider would be the status. Okay, that is a position that you hold. Then, if we were going to apply that to roles, that would be the behaviors or the actions that you take. So you occupy a status, that would be your label, and you play a role, which would be your actions. So that is something that a lot of students don't really grasp immediately, but once I use the example of playing charades, it's just easier for us to kind of latch onto what the difference between a status and a role is. Okay, moving into the work for session 5, you are going to complete chapter 4. Just as a reminder, chapters don't necessarily associate with session numbers. So we are working on chapter 4 this week. That will be quizzes 4.1 through 4.10, and then that final wrap-up chapter 4 quiz at the end. Remember that your access link is in the textbook and course information section. Here's our little friend pointing us to the link. We will click that link, walk through those steps. You're going to click courseware, access courseware. You're going to navigate to chapter 4. You're an expert at that by now. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email and I will certainly help you there. The second assignment for chapter 5 is the Social Interaction and Performance Journal, and that is going to be a crash course video that you are going to watch and then complete the journal. I do want to bring to your attention that the directions for the journal say complete sentences and in paragraph form. So remember, I should be seeing college level responses here. That will be a paragraph for each one of the questions. Formatting is also important, so we're going to copy what is between the dotted line. We're going to click this Start or Edit My Journal entry. We're going to paste that right here in this entry box, and then your paragraph goes here. When you change the color, that will be easy for you to see the content that you have added. This is an important step. I do grade on content, on format, on grammar, on proofreading, all of the above. And so I need you to make sure that you are paying attention to that. You are going to answer these 3 questions that talk about social statuses, status sets. You're going to talk about the roles. That's why I reviewed that for you in the video. And then the video discusses Erving Goffman's dramaturgical analysis. And I want to know what your thought process is about Goffman's theory there. Okay, when you are done, you are going to click the Save Changes blue button in the bottom lower left-hand corner, and that will submit your assignment to me. That will wrap up session 5. Make sure you do this as quickly as possible so you can jump into session 6, which is that writing analysis. And that will take you more time than just a chapter and a journal. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm only an email away.